Sean here, Wahoo Warrior. Going to have a 1,000 point match here in Fremont, Nebraska against my buddy Mark. I'm going to be taking the Germans, and he's going to be Americans. We're going to go over the terrain real quick and go over the Army list. We rolled point defense, and we go ahead and started to deploy the mandatory troops. But I'm going to go over my list real quick. And I'm taking the German list, and there's no real rhyme or reason to this list other than I had bought this anti-aircraft gun. My intention was to get it painted up and have it ready for play, but as you can see it's not, so we will see how it does. But I have a Panzer III-J, which is the reinforced rear armor, medium anti-tank gun, pole mount, and coaxial medium machine gun. I have a medium mortar, inexperienced, with no spotter, the AA, quad AA gun, and then I've got a unit of veteran. So the blue are my veteran, and the green models are going to be my regulars. So a veteran infantry squad with 2 assault rifles, 1 Panzerfaust, medium machine gun. I have the first lieutenant. He's got the +2. His assistant has an assault rifle. I've got another veteran squad with about 5 submachine guns in there, 1 Panzerfaust. And then a regular infantry squad. They're all 8 rifles and 2 submachine guns. One of the submachine guns is the NCO. And then a regular infantry squad, again, with 1 Panzerfaust and 2 submachine guns. So, yeah, that's pretty much my 1,000 point list. Nothing really crazy. Let's see how it works together. I'm going to go over Mark's list real quick. This is Mark. I want to say hello.
Hey guys.
Alright, so you want to go over your list for me?
Sure. So we've got a veteran U.S. Infantry Squad, Tough Fighters.
Alright, nice.
Airborne Light Mortar. MMG Team, U.S. Infantry. Infantry Sniper. Second Lieutenant. And they're regulars. These are all regulars except for these 2 on the end.
Okay.
This is regular infantry squad. These aren't going to be on the table to start with.
Those are in reserve there?
Yep.
Okay.
So we got regular Sherman, regular Hellcat with Recce roll, the pesky Recce roll. Then veteran airborne that's not completed, so they'll probably die right away. And
fail some order checks or something.
Yeah, something. And then second lieutenant, and he's regular.
Okay, and then the Sherman regular is a medium tank,
yep.
Medium anti-tank gun, and then the hull and the coaxial machine gun.
Yep.
And then what's a Hellcat? Is that a large anti-tank gun?
Hellcat is. Well, it has 7+ for the penetration.
Light tank, open top.
Yeah.
With the, I think the heavy anti-tank gun, right?
Yep.
And no heavy machine gun upgrades on the top of it?
It's got the 50 cal.
It does have the 50. Okay. So we're going to go over the terrain really quickly. Like I said, we already rolled the scenario, so I know I'm going to be the attacker, and I've assigned basically all my stuff's coming in the first wave, except for the submachine gun squad. I'm leaving them in reserves. And the terrain here, we've got the woods. The woods provide light cover if you're in them. They're considered rough terrain, so you can't run order through them. They also block the line of sight. That's something new we started doing. We're still kind of getting the hang of the terrain, and I like the dynamic of it blocks line of sight, but you can see 2 inches into it, and same with if you're at 2 inches of the edge, you can fire out with no penalty, but you'll still get the cover. The wheat fields we're using, they're open ground, and the open ground, so you can do all your running through it, but they do provide -1 if you're firing through them. And a same thing, if you're within 2 inches of the edge, you'll get the cover, but you don't suffer it. And then obviously buildings, this is the only actual full building, so it gives you the 6-up, hard to kill, what do they call that here? I don't remember. It's hard cover, but it also extra protection. And then we got 2 ruined buildings. The ruined buildings provide hard cover, so +2, but they don't give you the 6-up save because it's not a fully enclosed building. And then we got some road, and we're doing a water feature. It's the first time I've ever used a water feature, but basically we're just going to be playing it. It's rough ground, so it's just a shallow stream. tanks, tracked vehicles could drive right through it. Infantry could advance through it. They just can't run through it. And then got the little stone walls. I wonder what those do. We got a little wheat field here with a road running through it, and then a hill up there with a couple fences. So we got a lot of terrain on the board, and so it should provide for a pretty good battlefield. Got some fire lanes if you can find them, but otherwise it's going to be a lot of stuff to move through, which I like. I don't like a big open table. Alright, so we are going to go to turn 1 here. We'll be right back. So we start the game off and he pulls the first order dice, and then he puts his sniper on ambush, but then we remember we have to do a preparatory bombardment. So we freeze frame for a moment and we do a prep bombardment. And so he takes 1 pin on his lieutenant there. The squad on the left didn't take any. And the sniper took 2 pins, and the medium machine gun unit took 1 pin. And his mortar took 2 pins, light mortar, and then his veteran squad over on the far right took 2 pins. And then I pull an order dice and I move a regular infantry unit in, I run them in, kind of in the middle of the board. And then he activates his sniper from ambush and fires. He scores a hit, so I take a pin, but he didn't kill a guy. So that wasn't as bad as it could have been. Could have lost my NCO or something. And this unit here, he advances and he just moves them up so they're on the edge of the forest. So they'll be able to target out of there. But now they're not hidden. Medium machine gun, he puts that on ambush. A nice little hard rock wall there. And then his next unit is his medium mortar, and I believe he tries to either rally them or he just puts them down, actually. So they go down. It doesn't require an order check. And he is able to pass this check with his veteran squad, and they run. And the way that we played is any remaining move, when you get to the woods, you just have it, but you can't run out. You can't issue a run order if they're in it. But if you're outside it, you go running into it, you get the remaining move, they go diving in. His lieutenant, he just puts on a down order. And so I go ahead and run my quad AA gun in, and I'm lining it up here so this rock wall won't get in my way, but actually I should have used the rock wall in hindsight. He activates his ambush medium machine gun, and he starts firing at my anti-aircraft gun. And since I brought it in like that, I don't have any cover, but he is 6 to wound, so he does put a pin on me though. So because I got the gun shield, so it gives me a 6 to wound me to the front arc. But yeah, I probably should have been more patient. I was trying to be excited so I can have a turn 2 shot instead of moving. I run these guys in so they get to run up to the edge, and then their half remaining move doesn't take them all the way to the far end. It's just about halfway through there. That's considered rough terrain. These guys run up to this little wall on the far right side, and they can't see anything anyway, so they just ran up there. And then he starts putting, he pulled the next 2 and he put those on his reserve units. Pulls another order dice and puts that on a reserve unit. And then I pull an order dice, I move my medium machine gun in here. I got a kind of a decent line of fire towards that building. And he just throws another order dice on the reserve unit. And another order dice on the reserve unit. He's got quite a bit in reserves. And I go ahead and bring my medium mortar in. And then I run my lieutenant in. Since I got a pin on that unit, maybe I figure I could help them out there. Then I go ahead and just bring my tank in. We're planning on playing a tank game for the reserves. And I bring my tank in, and I fire the 2 medium machine guns at, I think, his sniper, needing 7s and miss. Alright, that ends the turn 1. Mostly just moving on the board, my first wave. I didn't really have a plan of attack until I started playing, and I figured I need 1 token for a draw and 2 for a win. So I'm going to maybe try to overload one side and then swing over if I can capture that second one to get a win. I do have a unit in reserve, still that I wrote down as orders. So I've got one element of surprise maybe where they might come in and be able to capture a token towards the end of the game if I leave them off, but we'll see. Other than that, just had a little bit of shooting with my medium machine guns, and other than that, I'm just moving. How about you, Mark? What do you got on your side?
I'm just gonna sit tight and see what happens. I think I'm not gonna give too much away, but
yes. Tell me exactly what you're going to do.
My plan is, I just have to remember I'm the defender this time was the main thing, and not get too aggressive and really throw off my defensive plan. So once we get tanks on and everything else, I have 5 in reserve, so we'll see how that goes. Yeah, then you got some nice defensive terrain there. And one of the things we were talking about between the turns is, I could have left my tank in reserve and played the tank game. Then also, if I get an order dice first, I may want to put an ambush on my tank, knowing his tanks may come in. That's what's really sweet about this game is the activation sequence. I really enjoy that part of the game. So it is important. I think my tank stays alive for a while. Sometimes I sacrifice my tanks pretty quickly, but if I do that too soon, then I'm going to be in a hurt to try to capture some objectives. So, all right, let's head to turn 2. Turn 2, got a Hellcat coming in. He debated quite a bit where he might bring it in, but he brought it in on the far left. I can't see him with my Panzer because of the trees. So that's just a view from my Panzer. Those trees are more than 2 inches, so we can't see each other. And I go ahead and decide to drive my tank. I put an advanced order, and I still don't know where his Sherman is. I was thinking about going in ambush, but I move him. And then I fire him some machine guns at these guys, and I give a 1 pin on there. And I actually kill a guy. So that's the second pin, because they had one on there from the preliminary bombardment. So then the Sherman knows where I'm going to be, and he drives in, he advances in, and fires. He's got that rock for cover, but he's up against it, so it doesn't help. But I think he needed a 5, since he moved. He's not veteran, and he rolled a 4, so he misses. Then I put a fire order on my anti-aircraft gun, so I pass the check, and I've got no pins. I fire 8 shots at his sniper. And I don't hit a thing. The small team is a killer. His sniper fires and hits my mortar, puts a pin on there, but didn't kill anybody. So I go ahead and fire my mortar back, and I aim at the sniper, and I'm needing a 6, and bada bing, roll a 6. So retaliatory strike, and since that's not a building per se, just I guess we ruled that it hits, and I rolled like 6 hits. I also rolled like 6 hits and killed the sniper outright. I run that squad that had the pin on them. They pass the order check and they run into the building. It's a nice position there to be in. Advance these guys to get them the rest of the way up against the edge of the rough kind of ground there. And then he puts a fire order on his medium machine gun. I believe that's what happened. Here he passes an order check and fires, and he misses with a 5, needing a 6 with his light mortar. I'm not sure that's a picture. Here he just goes down with his lieutenant. In this squad, I believe they just went down as well. They're just kind of waiting to see what my unit on the left does. My lieutenant goes ahead and runs up behind the tank area, just trying to get close to that squad. So on the next turn, if they start catching fire, put a fire order on my medium machine gun, and I start firing at his medium machine gun. I'm able to get a pin on there, so but not kill a guy. So that's good, I guess. And I advance this unit. They were behind that wall. I go ahead and start moving them up, and so they're advanced. And they don't have anything to fire at though. And I have my one squad in reserve, and I wrote them down secretly advancing on the right. So I know that they will be coming in eventually. Here he's got reserve coming in there. So I think he brought another lieutenant in, and then now he brings these guys in. So he's got another unit coming up on the right. He's got that unit in the middle there. So those are veterans, both those units he just brought in. And that looks like an overview picture, I believe. And he's got, well, here's his other lieutenant. Comes in here on the right-hand side. So the rest of his stuff's on. Alright, that is the end of turn 2.
The Germans have just felt like it didn't do much. Inched up a little bit, tried to put some fire, ended up being about an inch too short for most of the rifles in there. I did get a squad in the center building, which I like that tactical position. I can kind of use it as a hinge to move around. My guns here, trying to put some pins down. My quad gun didn't do squat against that sniper needing 7s, but then my mortar took him out with a 6 and blasting the pieces, rolling a 6 followed by a 6. Got his squad in the woods there, and now I brought a whole bunch of reinforcements in to counter the threat. So you got a Sherman tank, another infantry squad, you got another infantry squad over there. So yeah, it's going to be a bloody field here probably in a little bit. What are you thinking, Mark?
Yeah, I think there's gonna be a lot of action over here this next turn.
Yes.
There's gonna definitely tank duel, more than likely between the Panzer and the Sherman. And I've got my Hellcat on the far right, my right anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 squads and the lieutenant here. So
and then
my lucky sniper from last game got vaporized by mortar.
Yes.
So I'm gonna miss him because he's pretty deadly.
Yeah, I was not happy with that sniper when it was hard to hit him with those 7s. I'm like, man, I'm gonna have a heck of a time because he's just gonna be pinning stuff. And got fortunate with the mortar, so I'm very happy with that. And I do like, I got this unit in reserve, and they're on a flanking maneuver. Which flank he doesn't know, which is kind of nice because it actually keeps a infantry unit locked in. They can't respond because they don't know if I'm gonna have a unit coming in over there, because there's a token over there. So
exactly, that's what I was gonna add too. Is that unit's really got this tied up, and I wanted to keep my lieutenant close by too in case something drastic happens.
Yes. All right. So it looks like we're going to go to turn 3. Pulls the first order dice this turn, and he fires his Hellcat at my tank. More than 50% covered, so I believe he needed a 6. And fortunately, he misses. So I go ahead and put a fire order on my Panzer at his Sherman. And I don't remember what I needed, but I also missed. I think I got the dice in. I rolled a 4. I might have needed a 6. I didn't move, so maybe I needed a 5. But I missed, so that's unfortunate. And I do fire the machine gun at these guys. Don't kill anybody, but I put a pin on them. The whole mount machine gun. So now he knows my tank has already activated. So he can take his time with his Sherman. So he goes ahead and fires his medium machine gun team. So they remove that pin marker. And he starts lighting up my anti-aircraft gun. Yeah, so I got 2 pins on there. I must have missed a shot, but yeah, he's been shooting at that. And I got 2 dead guys, so only 1 remaining guy. There's my medium mortar, so I put a fire order on it. And you know what? My mortar killed the sniper. So all I need to do is roll a 6, right? So I aim at the medium mortar team, who's just blowing apart my anti-aircraft gun. And I roll a 6. So I got another 6, and not only do I roll a 6, but I roll like 5 hits, and the HE's at +2, so I'm killing those guys on 2-ups, and I'm able to wipe out the unit, kill everybody in it. So 2 shots with the mortar, 2 dead units, and that's kind of the center of his battle line. So yeah, crazy. We've never had a mortar do this good. He got an advance order, so he kind of runs his lieutenant through his unit to get him within range of both units before they activate, since they got some pins on there. And he activates that next unit with his nest dice, so he removes a pin, and they advance up, but he stayed out of shooting, so he's more than 2 inches in from the edge, so I can't see him. He advances those guys along this kind of files them up along that bush line, and then puts some fire into the building, and he's able to score a hit and put a pin on, but he did not kill anybody, because I do have the hard to kill, needing a 6. And his other unit passes their check, and they leapfrog past the lieutenant, so it's a nice squad moving here, hutting over each other. And then I bring my reserves in, and they come in at the 24-inch mark, since it must be turn 3. And I don't do as good as I thought. I put a pin on and only kill 1 guy with the shooting, and I just, since they're out now, I just run these guys up. I couldn't see those guys since they're more than 2 inches in, so I just did a run order, and I'm hoping for some dice on the next turn. So there's that. Yeah, I didn't kill nearly as many as I thought I would. Point blank range with all those submachine guns, but they're tough fighter veterans, I believe. Yeah, tough fighter veterans. You need 5 to wound them. So here I fail an order check trying to fire my gun. My lieutenant just advances up to the edge of the wall. That way they can try to help that unit inside there when I do decide to activate them. And his mortar team fires. I forget who he fires at, but he missed with a 4. And that pin marker should have been removed, but I forgot to take it off at the moment. I advance these guys. Now that I'm moving everything in on the right, I go ahead and go for it. I move these guys out, advance order them, and I fire at these guys behind this bush, and I'm able to kill 3. These are veterans, and I've got all rifles basically. So I rolled really good and was able to pin. And then he fires back with, I believe, his Sherman. Decided not to shoot at my tank. Or his Sherman's machine gun fired at it, and his Sherman main gun hit my vehicle, penetrated it. Did the crew immobilize though, or he glanced, blowed it, and it had a -3, so I took an extra pin. So I got 2 pins on my tank, and he killed a couple guys in that squad with the machine gun. I run my machine gun team up to get a little better vantage point, and then his lieutenant decides to move over towards the middle a little bit, not too far, just advancing through the woods cautiously. And I'm like, oh, piss on it, let's just do this. And I advance these guys out, and then I think I just took some random shots towards his. I don't even think I had anything to shoot at actually, but these guys advance over, and they do take a couple shots at me. I might have shot his squad, but I think I only had like 2 rifles in range. But he advanced over, and he's able to hit and kill a guy. So there's that turn. Alright, end of turn 3. If you've been following along, you can see it's getting really, really intense. On the right hand side here, I have my my reserve unit sneak in. They did way less damage than I thought they would. But we've got a lot of submachine guns here. He's got some veterans with tough fighters, so it's gonna be a bloodbath one way or another. And other than that, since I came in, I decided to start pushing. I pushed up here, came out of the building there. I got fortunate with some shooting there. I guess the karma balance back the other way. Glanced my tank, put an additional pin on it, which really kind of sucks. Yeah. And then here, I just figured I'm coming out to kind of try to cut the board in half and make that unit be a speed bump. I need to capture 2 tokens, and there's one with a Sherman sitting basically on it, and the other one is right there in the middle. And there's only so many turns, so I can't sit forever. That's my thought process. I'm pretty happy with what I got going on so far, but again, I could wipe out all this stuff. If I don't capture the tokens, it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. So, what are you thinking there, Mark?
We're going to have a bloodbath over here. We've got 2 squads apiece. Basically, they're going to go probably hand to hand or short range anyway. Sherman glanced the Panzer. So I want to take that out so I can focus more on the infantry. Mortar team really hasn't done much. These guys got taken out. Not taken out, but they took some pretty serious damage. So kind of leaves my middle open now. With that squad, I'm kind of worried about. But now that that squad's coming on the table, I can move these forces that have been protecting this token. I can move them over on the field.
Yeah, I had written down pre-game where they were coming in, and midway through, it's like, boy, I really like kind of if they came in there, especially when that Hellcat came up for that side shot on my tank. Could have came in and like, you can't assault coming in on a reserve like that, but I could have maybe put a. I don't even think I would have fired my Panzerfaust at it though. Well, that squad has just 1. So yeah, it would have been torn. I could have come in there and had to deal with the Hellcat, but it is open top, so I could have on the next turn maybe assaulted it. But then on this hand, I'm like, yeah, I can come in here and be point blank with all these submachine guns. So the big thing was that, and I've never done that before, I left a unit in reserve like that and moved them up the side. The big thing is it does lock up a lot of points for a while. I almost kept them in reserve 1 more turn. and move them a little farther up. But alright, so we're gonna get to this next turn. No units died that turn, so we still have the same order dice. I have 9 and you, Mark, you have 10 still, right?
Oh yeah. No, I've got 9 too.
Did you?
I lost 2 dice.
Oh, the medium machine gun, yeah, my killer mortar. My mortar rolling another 6, that was pretty awesome. But I don't think he has a target for the next shot, so there should save a life. Maybe he does, we'll see. Alright, getting to turn 4. Pull the first dice, and one thing to note is this unit being in reserve coming down the side kind of kept his one unit on the far left because he had to guard that token. But I run them, since you can run in the woods if you only go 6 inches on an assault, and I was within 6 inches. And here's my rolls. I need 5s to kill him, and he doesn't get to even strike back because I moved to kill enough to kill the entire unit, which is the bane of small squads. So they're destroyed. And then I consolidate over just a little bit, and then I pull an order dice on my regulars, and he is tough fighters, but I'll get to go first. I've got 2 submachine guns. I go in, and it's actually a draw. The first round I killed 2 and he kills 2, so he could have finished me off right there. Fortunately he didn't, so then we go simultaneously after that. And try to get a picture of the dice, but it's all blurry. But I guess that's just my roll, and then that's his rolls. He needs 4s to kill me with his remaining guys, and if he would have got 1 more, he would have won that combat because I only did 2, but he did 2, so it's a draw. So then it's a draw. We fight simultaneously, and now that since I survived that, after kind of poor roll, I mean 5s is tough compared to 4s, but after that I roll enough to kill him, but he does 5 wounds to me. So he rolls like a boss this time. He does 5, I only do 2. So he wins the combat. So my unit's destroyed, or demoralized enough. They're not going to fight anymore, and his unit's destroyed as well. This Hellcat advances and takes a shot at my Panzer. I don't have the hard cover now. I just have some soft cover in between. Nice flank shot on me. Fortunately for me, he fails. And he does turn his heavy machine gun on my squad there, though. And he scores 2 hits and kills 2 guys. And here's my tank. Don't know what I'm showing. Maybe they just hit shot. That was his target, and he missed. My lieutenant advances into the building. They're on the bottom floor, but for the sake of ease, we just put them in the top room there. And then his Sherman activates, and his Sherman goes ahead and fires his main gun at my Panzer, and he scores a hit, but failed to penetrate. So I've got 3 pins on me now, which is not really good. So, and his machine gun again fires at these guys, and he's going to put another pin on and kill a guy. So not bad shooting with a heavy machine gun. My medium mortar, he's on a roll, so I get all cocky and I say I'm going to now eliminate that squad. It's the only squad that he can see from this vantage point. And I target them, and I roll another freaking 6. That's 3 6s in a row. So my mortar has cleared out the entire center of this battle line, and I roll enough to kill everybody in the unit. So I go ahead, now that I don't have to worry about that, I go ahead and advance these guys up, and I'm trying to get them so they can threaten that token on the left, and I go ahead and fire a couple shots towards his light mortar, but I'm unable to hit on 7s. Fire my medium machine gun. I don't have a whole lot of targets for that. It's pretty far range, and I think I target that infantry squad or something, but I don't hit it at all if I was even in range. There's his light mortar. He goes ahead and fires, and I think he needed a 6, but he rolled 5 because I moved everything. And he fired at this squad here, and then he's trying to save his lieutenant with that mortar. At least get a pin on me. Advance this squad across the road some more. They've got that wheat field there, but that's about it. They pass their check, they move up, and they fire there, and they're able to get a pin. Looks like maybe my medium machine gun did put a pin on them, because now there's 2. And his lieutenant moves over here into the edge of this little rubble thing. And I fail another order check with my anti-aircraft gun, and I don't really have much of a target anyway. I was going to try to move it up there by that wall. Go ahead and I pass my order check with the Panzer. So I go ahead and move up, and I think I spray the machine gun fire at the medium, at this light mortar, or no, at the lieutenant maybe. I miss with all those pins, and I miss with my tank gun against the Sherman. But at least I'm moving. And his lieutenant goes ahead and fires at my guys and is able to put a pin on, but doesn't kill anyone. And he's at point blank, so that's he does move activate this unit. He kind of scolded himself for moving his lieutenant first, but he passed anyway. He moved that unit over. And he fires at these guys, and he's able to, I think, get another pin on me. That pretty much is the end of that turn. Okay, ending turn 4. If you've been following, at a brutal close combat round. Was that this turn that happened? Yeah, it's like forever. In the woods there, lots of dead bodies. He was able to kill that squad off, but I killed him out for the last man. So it was kind of a wash there. Ran over the other squad with all my submachine guns. Still got this Sherman in a nice spot behind that rock. My tank is still alive. Decided to move this turn since I needed a lot to hit anyway. I think I needed a 7 or higher. Went ahead and moved it to keep that Hellcat from having a shot at it too. Other than that, I'm starting to push towards the objectives. I've got a squad there. I've got to get through a Sherman though. I've got a squad in position there. Could go either way. And I got a squad right in the middle of the table that they're starting to take some fire. I kind of knew they would, but just keep pushing them up. My mortar is the beast so far in the match. It's another 6 and eliminated that unit. Right? And I did it so casually. I'm like, oh, I'll just kill that unit with a mortar. And I roll a 6. So killing it with a mortar. What do you got going on your side there, Mark?
Well, like you said, that was the brutal area. That's Deadwood.
Yes.
Now, at least my squad took out that second squad there. Moved my lieutenant back to give my Sherman room to fire. So basically the middle's, I don't want to say wide open. These guys can shift over. My Hellcat's really out of position now.
Well, his heavy machine gun lit it up, needing 6s to hit. He hit out of 2 of the 3 and killed a couple of my veterans.
So he might just be anti-infantry for this turn, obviously, because I can't see through the building. But we got 2 more rounds for sure anyway,
yes,
so it'll be close.
Yep. It's not a lost cause by any means. Pushing even a draw. Getting a win is tough, capturing 2 of those. So I guess we're going to go to turn 5, and we should know a little bit more pretty close. Rolls first dice, and he decides to, since he needs a 5 now on that unit, goes ahead and fires his light mortar, and he misses with a 4. Oh, that was the target there. And then his Sherman activates, and he fires at my Panzer, and he misses by, I think, 1. So he missed me, because I think he moved just a little bit to get his whole mount in line with these guys, and he's able to put another pin on them with the machine gun. So that movement kind of cost him a hit on the Panzer. His Hellcat comes barreling over the bushes and into the wheat field and fires its heavy machine gun and its medium machine gun at these guys. I decided not to go down because I want to pressure that token, and unfortunately he didn't do much damage. Here, it might have been where he shot one of his 2 machine guns. But on my turn I run these guys out because he didn't move his lieutenant back, so I was able to run out of there 6 inches, contact him, kill him in hand-to-hand, and consolidate like that. These guys fail an order check this time, even with the lieutenant close, and they go down. I'm able to pass my order check and advance, so I just move up. And I put a couple shots on there, get another pin, and then kill a guy. I need to just keep these units from getting towards the center token. The token on the far right, he's got a Sherman and a mortar guarding it. I fire my tank. I pass my order, but I failed to do any damage. And then his lieutenant fires a couple rifle shots at my squad. He's able to actually hit and kill a guy. And these are my veterans. I got 2 assault rifles in there. And I fail another order check with this thing. You know, it's unpainted. And it's got 2 pins on it, and a -1 more for the crew. So my mortar, my magic mortar, I go ahead, and the only thing I can really see is a Hellcat through these windows, and I go ahead and fire at it, but I miss on a 4. So, yeah, that would have been, I mean, I'm in double bonus right now with the mortar, but I'll go ahead and run my lieutenant up along this wall here. He's a little bit exposed, but he's behind a wall, a small unit, so I'm not too worried, because I advance these guys towards that token. I'm going to count on my other unit to capture the other one. But I can shoot this way, so I fire at this, and I'm able to put a pin on the mortar. I fire my medium machine gun, and I fire at the Hellcat, and I'm able to put a pin on that since it's open top. Alright, end of turn 5, and we got 1 turn more that we know for sure, with a possible other turn. As of now, I haven't captured any of the tokens. Got a unit there next to the Sherman. My Panzer just kind of been battling it out with the Sherman, keeping him distracted. He's got a mortar team that still could claim that token. Here I had to get those guys, start getting them across the creek bed, so they're within range of a move to capture that token. This squad here just kind of taking some fire and returning a little bit. And I did get a pin on the Hellcat. Maybe that won't activate. He had an unfortunate failure there. It didn't activate, so I kind of kept those guys froze. But yeah, we'll see how turn 6 ends. If it goes to turn 7, I feel pretty confident, but I don't know about turn 6, whether or not I can get the win or not. It's going to depend kind of how the dice come out. Because to capture it, you have to control it. Like, and no enemy within 3 inches. We'll have to look at the rules before we go to the next turn to make sure you can't force a draw by just getting a unit close.
Right.
All right. What are you thinking, Mark?
It's going to be tight. If we get around 7, like you said, I think you can probably pull it out. But just got the 1 squad really to worry about here. Kind of worried about Panzer, but not too much more.
Not now, yeah. I mean, because if you bring a howitzer and a machine gun to bear and pin that unit and damage them, I might fail, you know.
This is the area that's really got me concerned. 2 squads. I mean, that's got 2 pins, but you got a lieutenant.
Close. Not quite in range, but close.
If I can get this unit to activate, I think I'll be okay. If they don't, then it's going to be a lot closer.
Yes. Well, my aircraft gun here hasn't really done anything the whole game. I can't pass the order check, but that's understandable after the damage you took, because the positioning I put it, I didn't want that wall in my way for my shooting, and it kind of cost me. I should have been more patient and moved him up here, and then I could have been, at this point, I could have been really tearing some stuff up with that, but
the mortar is the star.
Yes.
Killed 3.
Alright, so let's go to knock out this turn 6. Well, I assault the Sherman, I get a run order, and I'm able to kill the Sherman, but I only rolled 2 inches on the overrun, or reconsolidate. I was hoping to reconsolidate on the other side of that token to guard it from his medium mortar. His Hellcat activates, so that pin didn't help at all. And he starts gunning these guys down, kills another guy, and puts another pin on. But it could be worse. I'm actually doing pretty well. These guys come poking around the corner, and I don't have very many rifle shots at that angle. I was trying to give myself protection. I was able to kill the lieutenant assistant. My Panzer advances up, pass another order check, and it fires machine guns, all 8 shots, and I'm unable to hit that dude. My lieutenant comes over, he tries to fire a few shots at him too. These guys activate and they advance and they start firing at my squad. I'm trying behind some cover because I forgo a couple rifle shots to make sure I was in cover. And then these guys go ahead and assault the lieutenant. I pass my order check, removes all the pin markers, and I've been passing order checks like a mofo, so that's helpful. And I'm able to wipe them out. He does kill a guy, though, because he was defending an obstacle, so he kills a guy, and I'm able to kill him off. And then I consolidate kind of in the rough terrain along the edge of that area there. And my magic mortar fires, and his Chafee, it did not move, but I missed. So maybe it did move. I don't think it did move. But over here, he hits me with something. What the heck? I forget what he hit me with. But he killed a couple guys. Maybe it's Chafee. Had to be. Fire my Mean Machine Gun at the Chafee. And I'm able to put another pin on it. So I'm just trying to play the pin game. That's that turn. Okay, that's the end of turn 6. The way it ended here, I couldn't bring enough to bear to kill this mortar team. This building was blocking some of my lines of fire. Didn't take a spotter with the mortar, and yeah, so managed to stay alive. That small team bonus really helping out behind that rock. So he's on that token there. It's going to be contested or whatever. I do own 1, so it's definitely a draw so far, and we'll see if we can roll. If we roll a turn 7, then I'll be able to kill that light mortar, but then he'll have a possibility of being able to try to capture this token back still, because he still has a squad there, and I'm just kind of standing out in the open. So you want to go ahead and grab a dice, Mark, and roll it. So 4, 5, or 6, it goes to turn 7. Oh. Wait.
That's not what I wanted.
Oh, that's not what you wanted? I thought you wanted total victory. No?
Oh, that's going to be bad. My poor airborne.
Okay, so we're going to knock out a quick turn 7 thanks to Mark's generous rolling. Yes, the one time you rolled. Yeah, you couldn't use that on it to hit, but alright. Any other thing to note before we roll that turn 7 out?
No. My mortar team finally hit after they moved.
Yes.
Basically objective.
They need to be running.
My lieutenant got wiped out. So it's basically up to these guys. Hellcat can provide some support.
Sure, it's there.
That's about it. 3 dice to
yeah, okay, so we'll run this turn out real quick. After, barring the end of that turn roll, and it's not over. I mean, but barring that roll there, I mean, it's been I think a very nice game. I like the way it's been playing. That's got strategy and tactics on both sides. Where to allocate your dice. Very balanced. It's been very enjoyable.
Oh, absolutely. What really helped is that head unit, because it tied up basically 3 units over here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, once that put that Hellcat out. I just put it in that position. But yeah, it's been a pretty balanced game. It doesn't look like it now, but it's really come down to the last turn. Yeah, which is always a fun game when it comes down to the last turn. And bad positioning, I've got my own things with that bad positioning. No vehicle to bring that armored or that AA gun in kind of screws it. But anyway, I was kind of hoping, my goal was to kind of divide the table with a bunch of fire, but it didn't really work out. But alright, well, we'll knock out turn 7, and then should be it. Here the Chafee fails to activate, so the pin did affect him, so that's nice. And now I don't charge these guys, I just move out and start firing at them, because my other unit can capture the objective. I'm able to kill 2. Put another pin on there. And then these guys assault the mortar, because he had moved, hoping the game would end and contest that. Would have ended in a draw. So I'm able to assault the mortar and kill him. And his Chafee was really his last gasp at this point. If he could have activated that and forced enough casualties on my unit to... he's got this unit here, he could have maybe done something. But yeah, once the Chafee didn't activate, it's kind of rough, because he needed to force a break check on my guys or something. And here the gun, I don't even know what I was trying to do, move it, but my tank goes ahead, since what the heck, go ahead and fire at the Chafee. Long range through all kinds of cover and miss. And Mean Machine Guns just going through the motions, still firing at the Chafee. And fire my mortar, fire that at the Chafee. And
think I actually hit it, and it was open top, and I did got a couple pins on there. And then his last guys here, I believe they failed to activate, so that would pretty much be it. Okay, that ends the game, turn 7, and Mark here had a very close, he failed his check, but then after we rolled, what he would have done, he would have had 4 hits, and he had a chance to make that unit get killed on a morale check. But yeah, so it ended up, it looks like a German victory as I controlled 2 of the tokens. But if it wasn't for turn 7, it would have definitely been a draw. Hard fought game. Even though he's down to his last 2 units, he was still contending, trying to force a draw. What are your thoughts, Mark, on the game?
Yeah, it was a good game. It really came down to that extra turn killed it for me. And the 3 pins on this unit really made it suffer.
Whacked him up.
Yeah.
But you know, I rolled crazy with the 6s on the mortar, because if the sniper wouldn't have died, if your medium machine gun wouldn't have died, and if that unit on the right behind those bushes wouldn't have died, I wouldn't be controlling that token in the middle.
Right, it would have been a lot.
It would have been, I would have had to basically run into the teeth of a medium machine gun and a sniper, and that squad coming across the middle here, yeah, that wouldn't happen unless I could have kind of nullified that.
Yeah, because they would have, if I could have kept my medium machine gun team, or at least one of these 3 units in the middle, my Hellcat was opened up at that point, so I could have put some fire this way in the middle, but the mortar was definitely the game changer.
Oh yeah, crazy rolling. So yeah, it was a fun game, good game. Nice little tank duel there. I'm surprised I survived, actually. I think that you would have hit me 3 more times if you had taken gyro stabilizers.
Yeah.
With your, I mean, it's a more expensive point cost, but that game they would have paid for themselves for sure.
Definitely.
But all right, well, that's the end of the game. Thanks everybody for watching. I'm gonna sign off. Bye.